1-2.
It appears to me that Granderson is really having trouble picking up the spin on Messina's breaking ball.
1-2 the count. Third ball. And the drop for Sheffield. Messina.
That was an excellent play there by Sheffield. A lot of guys, more comfortable with the position. They just grab the ball and flip it to the first pitcher coming. He ran toward the pitcher, made it a softer throw so the pitcher could see it coming. Now watch where he is. Now watch how he feels this ball. Now a lot of guys would just catch it and flip it to him. See how he comes to it, and then makes it a much easier play for both he and the pitcher. A lot of guys would just catch it right there, turn and flip it. But he comes right to the pitcher, chest high. I mean, that's a beautiful play, and that's one of the reasons that Don Mattingly said that he thought that he could be an excellent first baseman. He started off as a shortstop with Milwaukee years ago, so he's got good hands.
Placido Polanco takes a called strike. Polanco struck out his first time. That's almost exactly the way he started in the first time. The high fastball that got Jim Leland all upset, and had Las Diaz, the plate umpire, scolding Leland. So he starts him up there again. Strike one again. Sean Casey on deck. Right to third. Alex Rodriguez. And that is out number 2. Been a long time since the Tigers were last playing baseball in October in postseason play. It's their first postseason appearance since the 1987 League Championship Series, which they lost to the Royals. The Minnesota Twins is what I remember. And the Twins, of course, ended up in the World Series that year and won it against the Cardinals. Last time the Tigers were in the World Series in 1984, and they defeated the San Diego Padres 4-1. That was under Sparky Anderson, and they had quite a ball club that year. Casey down the left field line into the corner. That ball is a foul ball. So the count to Casey is 0-1. Casey was safe on an error by Derek Jeter his first time as Matsui heads back to his position. But the Tigers in 1984, that was the year that they had the greatest start to a season that any team has ever had. After 40 games in 1984, the Tigers were 35-5. Jack Morris, Dan Petrie, Milt Wilcox at the top of the starting rotation. Guys like Aurelio Lopez and Willie Hernandez in the bullpen. Hernandez had an extraordinary year as the closer. Lou Whitaker, Alan Trammell up the middle, Lance Parrish the catcher, Chet Lemon out in center field. Strong defense, strong offense, strong pitching, and they won it all. Jeter far afield to get that one over to Messina. 3 ground ball outs. Bobby Abreu, Gary Sheffield, Jason Giambi. Big power coming up for the Yankees. Carlos Guillen takes strike 1 from Mike Messina. Switch hitting Guillen, the real leader in this Tigers ball club, and they lost him for a while with a hamstring injury.
And they thought it was going to be a lot longer than it was, and that's when they were starting a tailspin and they really needed him.
And that was a dark period for the Tigers. He rips that one past Sheffield, and Sheffield looked like he didn't see that one well off the bat. Abreu's got a strong arm, but no chance to get Guillen, who runs well. It's a stand-up double.
When you play so many night games, your eyes and your rhythm in the game, you're accustomed to the darkness. And you play in a day game, there is an adjustment you have to make. This ball is ripped down the line. Fastball was supposed to be in. He misses his spot. It's ripped, but it's also hooking away from Sheffield, and he can't. He kind of lunges at it, but the ball is hooking, and you see he can't reach it. And like you said, he may not have seen it as quickly as he would like coming off the bat either.
The long shadows of October moving inexorably toward home plate. And the longer they get, the more difficult it will be for the left fielder in particular, shortstop, third baseman, to track balls in the in the air. There's a curve from Messina. Did he swing? No, says Alfonso Marquez. Ball one to Pudge Rodriguez.
It's a curveball. It's the same pitch he threw to Ordonez. Let's take a look at this one. Well, you can see that his hands are out there, but his barrel of the bat is back. So, you know, again, he had control of the bat. I think that's the key.
You control the bat. You're not attempting to strike the ball.
Exactly. All right, now we've got that cleared up.
I'm glad you cleared that up for me after all these years. Pudge Rodriguez trying to knock home Guillen from second base. Now to get Guillen to third base. Derek Jeter throws out Rodriguez. 2 down. Runner at third now. And Craig Monroe, who had one of the biggest hits of the year for the Tigers right here in this ballpark. The game-winning home run in the 9th inning that brought the Tigers from behind to a win. Monroe, 29 years old. Yankee fans enjoying. Was that Cracker Jacks? Did you see Cracker Jacks there, Joe?
Love those as a kid.
Cracker Jacks.
Hate them as an adult.
How about some salted in the shell peanuts?
I still like that.
The bunt, but he was going to have to beat it out for it to work, and he bunted it right back to Messina. That was the Tigers' leading home run hitter. With a runner at third, he bunted. 1-0 Detroit. On now as Alex Rodriguez looks at a called strike.
Now see, watch the ball runs in. Watch how he almost gets hit with it and he just drops it down. No chance. Now he reacts at first base. I don't think he's mad because he was trying to bunt. I think he was mad because he bunted at a pitch that he couldn't get where he wanted it to go.
Look out, here comes Monroe. He's got it. Nice play into a slide. Granderson also is moving in, and Guillen, the shortstop, going out, but it was Monroe who took charge.
You know what's funny? I think Granderson or Monroe could have caught that ball, and great for Monroe to take charge, even though the center fielder usually takes charge in that situation. But either one of them, watch, Granderson can catch it as well. See, he gets there, and so does Monroe. So excellent coverage there by both the outfielders. They both came to get it. Monroe says, I got it, cuts in front, and makes the catch. But Granderson, you see, he could have caught it as well. That's what speed does for you in the outfield. It closes the gap very quickly.
Alex Rodriguez is 0 for 2 in the game. He struck out looking his first time. Here's Hideki Matsui. Matsui takes a changeup for ball one. Matsui single to right his first time. And Verlander with his 61st pitch of the game. Another changeup for a strike, and it is 1-1. Verlander was in nothing but trouble in the first 2 innings and somehow survived it, and then had a quick 3rd inning. Timeout granted just as he was about to throw that ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
John, when the Yankees go into the postseason, their mindset is different than other teams. And I say that because when Joe Torre, I've known him a long time and I've talked to him, when he goes into the postseason, he's looking at a 19-game season. He's not looking past the Tigers. He's not looking past the next round. But he says that's what our goal is, to get those 19 games.
That's another base hit for Matsui.
Because those 19 games will get him through the World Series. So that's what he's trying to do. That's how he sets his team up. And you say, well, other teams don't do that. Well, they have not had the success over the years that the Yankees have. When the Yankees go into the postseason, if they don't win the World Series, it's almost considered a failure. They've got 26 World Championships. So success breeds confidence. They're confident that, yes, we can get this done. So when they go into the postseason, it's a 19-game season for them. Everybody else is trying to get round for round and go forth. But again, he's not looking past anyone, but that's his ultimate goal.
Jorge Posada, the hitter. Change-up for a called strike. Posada walked his first time. It's a glorious history. 26 World Series titles. They've been to 39 World Series.
Look at that, 12 consecutive, though. See, that they're used to being in the first round. They're not worried about the first round. They're trying to get, to the final round.
Curveball, strike, and it's 0-2.
And that's not being overly cocky. That's having confidence in your team to say, I mean, we've heard numerous occasions Derek Jeter say, well, if we don't get to the World Series, the season is not a success. And that's the mindset that they have.
And a curve that almost hits Posada. Nice save there by Pudge Rodriguez to keep the double play in order. Matsui having to hold it first. 1-2. Now, I would agree with your statement there about it's not a successful season unless you get to the World Series. I think any team that makes it to the World Series has had a heck of a year.
Right.
But the Yankees,
no.
It's not just getting
the
World Series.
They're trying to win their 27th championship. You're right. But
I don't agree with that thinking.
Yeah. Well, But you would if you had the success that the Yankees have had their history.
In other words, you're not satisfied.
No, you're not satisfied.
Just getting to the World Series.
Exactly. You're not satisfied if you're the Yankees and have a storied history like they have. I mean, any other team and most teams, that's what your goal is, to get to the World Series and then try to win it, of course. But your goal is to get there. The Yankees, goal is to win the championship.
Fastball from Verlander up and away. 3-2. He was 0-2 to Posada. He's a Yankee fan who's displaying a lot of that Yankee history.
And again, success breeds confidence. If you're successful, you'll be confident that you can do that. And the history of this franchise has been very successful in accomplishing that goal.
Matsui, the runner at first, 1 out. He's not running, and that's ball 4.
Looked like a changeup or something he threw.
I think it was. And that's the 4th walk allowed by Verlander. He's got Jim Leland pacing in the dugout.
Well, I don't know why he and Pudge Rodriguez would want to do that when you have such a great fastball, but they decided they wanted to throw a changeup. And make no mistake about it, Posada is a very good fastball hitter.
At some point, if you can throw 100 miles an hour,
right,
you got to say, well, this guy's 35 years old. If he can hit 100 miles an hour, more power to him.
And especially when you look in the on-deck circle, and you see Robinson Cano coming up next.
So after a quiet 3rd inning, he's back in trouble here in the 4th. 2 men on, 1 man out. And Robinson Cano, 3rd in the league and batting this year at the plate. Changeup. Monroe, and just like that, Cano is gone.
Well, now that was a great pitch, and very rarely do you see guys start. We've seen more of this lately than before, starting a hitter off with a changeup, and the reason is he has nothing to gauge it against in that at bat. So you throw him a changeup, and I think the reason it's successful, it moves away. This ball is moving that way, away from Cano, and he reaches out to get it. Now watch, see, he reaches to the ball. He just reaches out there to get to it because the last moment that ball moved away from him. You see he's off balance. Excellent pitch.
Now Johnny Damon. Fastball away at 96. 1 ball, no strikes. 2 men on, 2 men out. The Yankees have not yet had a hit with a runner at 2nd or 3rd or both. No hits, 6 at-bats as a team with runners in what we call scoring position. Damon drives one. Way back there. Way back there. Upper deck. A 3-run homer.
It is just hard for any pitcher to go through this lineup 3 times without getting touched up a little bit.
Damon takes a bow.
And he just continued to have those situations where he pitch out of a jam, but it's just almost impossible to go through this lineup like that and not get hurt somewhere along the way.
3-1. The Yankees have turned it around on the Tigers. 1 swing at Johnny Damon's bat. The 5th postseason home run for Damon. Remember when he crushed the Yankees right here in this ballpark with 2 Game 7 home runs, including a grand slam that was a total backbreaker in 2004 that helped propel the Red Sox into the World Series. A 3-run shot for Damon. He had 24 homers in the regular season. As Jeter takes one a little bit low, 1 ball, or rather 2 balls, and 1 strike.
Well, it registered as a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and he hit it into the upper deck. So if you can catch up with that 98-mile-an-hour fastball, it goes a long way.
So Verlander supplied a lot of the power for him. Derek Jeter. Deep left center field. Monroe on the run. Can't get it. Up against the wall. And Jeter with his first hit of the day and his 6th of this series.
Another fastball, and again, you know, they've seen him 3 times now. This is the 3rd time around. They've seen the fastball. They've seen how much it moves, and they know how fast it is. The first time up, sometimes they can sneak the fastballs on you, or the breaking balls are breaking more than you think. But after you've gotten a chance to bat against a guy twice and see all of his pitches, now you have a chance to adjust, and that's what they're doing now. Well, this is a 2-1 fastball, but again, it's in the middle of the plate in. That ball's inside again. They've had trouble with getting Jeter on the ball in. Here's Damon. That ball is middle of the plate in as well. And Damon just kind of drops the barrel of the bat on it, and it goes a long way into the upper deck.
And from the upper deck, the ovation on the 3-run homer. Damon has turned the game around. 3-1 Yankees.
And as we mentioned in the open, John, yesterday, Jeter 5 for 5, Abreu 4 RBIs, but they have 6 other All-Stars in this lineup that you have to contend with every day.
Here's Bobby Abreu, who has walked and singled. Change up for a strike. Remember, Abreu had 4 RBIs in Game 1. And the Tiger bullpen gets busy after Jim Leyland's visit to the mound.
Keep forgetting we're in the American League. They have 7 other All-Stars other than Jeter and Abreu.
Yeah. 9 hitters in the lineup.
Yeah.
10-man team.
Yeah. Other than in the National League, where you only have 8 hitters and a pitcher.
There is Wilfredo Ledesma, the left-hander up in the Detroit bullpen. So Verlander has worked hard in every inning, although he had a quick 3rd, but he's been in trouble in every other inning. There is Sean Casey, and the inning is over. But the 2-out, 3-run homer by Damon, and the Yankees have a 3-1 lead after 4. First ball swinging. Marcus Timms down the left field line. That's a fair ball, and it bounces up into the crowd. An automatic double. So the Tigers trailing by 2, but Marcus Timms leads off the inning with a double. Brandon Inge coming up, and let's go to Carl Ravitch for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
Hi, John. Thank you. A federal judge ordered Barry Bonds' personal trainer, Greg Anderson, released from prison Thursday because a federal appeals court hadn't affirmed his contempt order within the required 30 days. He may end up returning to prison. Abuse charges dropped against Brett Myers. Remember, he was arrested back in June after witnesses saw him strike his wife. A judge dismissed all charges today.
All right, Carl, thank you. And here it is 3-1. The Yankees leading the Tigers in the 5th inning. The Tigers trying to mount a comeback now.
Well, the one thing the Tigers do, they do not quit. We've seen that. And you have to be proud of them if you're the Detroit fan, because they came from 5-0 to make it a game in Game 1. And, you know, right away, not letting Messina shut them down quickly this inning after the Yankees took the lead shows that they've still got a lot of fight in them. They got a long way to go.
Marcus Timms, a former Yankee, knocked in a run against Messina with a single in the 2nd. Now he's hit a double against him. Timms has 2 doubles in the series and 3 hits and 6 at-bats. Well, Messina blew a fastball right by Brandon Inge, who hit 27 home runs this year.
John, the first pitch, Inge was trying to shoot the ball the other way, and he took an awkward swing. So now he's trying to shoot the ball. Messina just throws him a high fastball, and he chases it. I think now you just have to try to drive him in.
Leadoff man Curtis Granderson is on deck. 3-1 the Yankees head. Now Posada's going to go out and talk to Messina. Messina on the mound for the Yankees, the 37-year-old veteran, and Justin Verlander, the 23-year-old rookie for the Tigers. And here is the Yellow Book pitching summary. It's been a laborious outing for Verlander, which almost every pitcher experiences against the Yankees. 80 pitches in 4 innings in his first postseason start. Messina has been very efficient. In fact, they'd only thrown 17 pitches in the last 2 innings combined. Curveball in the dirt, and that gets away from Posada. And over to third base goes Timms. So what Inge was trying to do, the Yankees have now done for him.
Yeah, definitely.
So a runner at third, nobody out.
It's a breaking ball. Posada slides over to try to get in front of it, you see, and it bounces off him and bounces away. And Timms easily over to third base. A wild pitch.
Infield stays back. Inge backs away. Brandon Inge, 27 home runs this year, 83 batted in, although he always batted low in the batting order. You see the shadows advancing toward home plate. Check swing and a foul.
Well, obviously, Messina's gone for the strikeout now, and he was trying to get the high fastball middle of the plate in. He got it too far in, but he was definitely going for the strikeout. And he'll be cautious with the curveball again because you don't want to bounce it and have another wild pitch to get the runner in from third. If he throws the curveball, he'll have to start it higher and make sure he throws a strike with it.
Tigers have only 4 hits so far against Messina. We're in the 5th. And again, he's staying after him with that high fastball, and Inge fights that one off.
Well, that's a good strikeout pitch. You can get a guy to go up the ladder and keep going. Pretty soon he can't catch up with it.
Inge can get an RBI just by hitting a ground ball to one of the infielders
place other than the pitcher.
But Messina making it hard for him to hit a ground ball. A fly ball hit well would also get it done. Strike 3 call.
And that's just Messina knowing how to pitch. I mean, he went up and in 3 times, John, and now what did he do? He goes away. And Inge is just not prepared for it. He set him up with the 3 pitches in. There's another pitch in. You see he's trying to go the other way. Another fastball in. Breaking ball that he got away from him. Another high fastball. Another high fastball. And then he goes away with a fastball.
Wow.
See? He took the curveball away from him with the wild pitch, but he says, hey, I'll do it with the fastball, and it was perfect pitching there from Messina.
Not unusual for Messina to get a called third strike. Now Granderson, curveball, too low. Granderson trying to get that runner home from third. In fairness to Inge, there wasn't a runner at third until he already had 2 strikes.
And truthfully, John, I don't think he should have been trying to move the runner over. You are one of the RBI guys on this ball club. If it comes, if it hits it that way, you hit it that way. But to make an attempt is pretty difficult with a 3-1 lead.
That one's into left center field. Johnny Damon, the catch. He's got a weak arm, though. Here comes Marcus Timms. He scores easily. As Damon's throw looked like it had a parachute attached to it.
A-Rod's going to go over and tag third base to make sure he didn't leave too quickly. And third base umpire Paul Immel says he did not leave too quickly. Larry Pansino, I'm sorry, said he didn't leave too soon. There's Larry. But as John said, not much throwing strength in the outfield, center and left for the Yankees. Abreu has a pretty good arm, but in left, Matsui and of course Damon do not have strong throwing arms.
So now it's 3-2, and here is Polanco. Messina drops in a called strike with an off-speed pitch. Polanco is struck out and grounded out. 0 for 2. 3-2, the Yankees lead. Johnny Damon's 3-run homer in the 4th inning. All the offense for the Yankees. Tigers got a run in the 2nd, driven in by Timms, and a run here in the 5th, scored by Timms. And that's a ball. The Tigers have been pretty efficient. They haven't had many opportunities against Messina. This is only really the 3rd scoring chance they've had, and twice they've gotten the guy home. It's not like they've had bases loaded or first and third.
Not like the Yankees.
Basically one guy on base at a time.
The Yankees have had a lot of opportunities.
They've had 3 guys get to scoring position, and twice they got him home. Broken bat there by Polanco on a check swing. Marcus Timms, who began his career with the Yankees. So a big day for him, and he had a very nice year for the Tigers. 26 home runs, although a .256 batting average. but he only had 348 at bat, so that's a lot of power.
And you got to get, that's one of those things. Jim Leland gave him a chance to get a lot of at bats, and he produced for him.
Polanco, who injured his left shoulder separation, and they really struggled mightily without Polanco. Very steady infielder, turns a double play well, and just an outstanding number 2 hitter in the lineup.
Well, he's a winning type player, John. You're right. I mean, he does all the little things that it takes to win. He knows how to play the game.
Right past Sheffield, down the right field line. Polanco not a real fast runner, and Abreu's got the strong arm, and Polanco will go back to first.
Well, the Yankees were playing him obviously to the right side, or else that would have been a double, but they were planning that way. And he just, this pitch is away, and Polanco just fights it down the line. You can see Abreu gets there quickly because they were planning, shading him toward right.
So Polanco aboard with 2 down, and here is Sean Casey.
Even with the fact that the Tigers finished the season poorly, you really see why they were able to win a lot of ball games. They have a lot of fight. They keep coming at you, and they're not intimidated by the Yankee Stadium.
Sean Casey has reached on an error by Jeter and has grounded out. Curveball from Messina, too low.
And one of their big additions was Sean Casey, and he did a heck of a job for him when they picked him up late in the season. I mean, he became one of their real RBI men, clutch hitters, and the guy that they wanted up there in a lot of clutch situations.
Well, they have a lot of power up and down the lineup, but it's mostly right-handed.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
Dave Dombrowski, and they really struggled against the top right-handed pitchers. They needed a lefty to break that up, and Sean Casey is the guy they got. And they said, man, this guy's just a key. Plus, right. Casey's a guy he's not a home run hitter,
but he's a hitter.
But you put men on base,
right? And
Casey's going to make contact. He's going to hit the ball somewhere more often than not.
And he hit the ball much better than his average with the Tigers. But I mean, he had a lot bad luck, according to Jim Leland. He hit a lot of balls hard that were caught. Change up, beautiful pitch.
Alex Rodriguez battling the sun, and the inning is over. Tigers get a run back. It's 3-2. Sheffield coming up, and also Jim Leland coming up from the Tiger dugout in 60 seconds. Back with Jim Leland in 60.
Albert Pujols getting set. Game 1 did some serious damage, had the 2-run home run, so he'll be in the lineup. Mike Piazza not in the starting lineup for the Padres. It's Josh Bard. That's at 4 Eastern.
All right, and back here in New York, 3-2, the Yankees leading the Tigers, and we're very honored to have Jim Leland, the manager of the Tigers, join us now from the Detroit dugout. Jim, many thanks.
Oh, no problem, guys.
Jim, Verlander has had a lot of base runners. He struggled, so to speak, but he's kept this game pretty much in check. What's your feeling there?
Well, the average guy would have been out of the game by now,
right.
But because he's got such good stuff, he's still capable of making a pitch, Joe. You know, Damon turns on the ball early in the count. We knew that, and that's what he did. He got in there, and he looked and flew open and turned on one. But he's done a good job. He's kept us in the game, and like I said, if he was a guy with just average stuff, he'd have probably been out there by now.
How about Verlander? How long will he be in this game, Jim?
Well, I'm watching him a little bit, obviously, right now. So we're going to have Ledesma and maybe Rodney or Zamaya get ready to go. So we'll just have to play it by ear. But like I said, he's got quality stuff, and he can get in trouble, makes pitches, but you can't go too long with a kid.
Jim,
Thanks, Jim.
We really appreciate it.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thanks.
Jim Leland, the manager of the Detroit Tigers, live from the Tigers dugout. And here is Justin Verlander, ready to go now to the cleanup hitter, Gary Sheffield, Jason Giambi, and Alex Rodriguez to follow. 3 great all-stars, 3 MVP-type players with home run power, RBI capability, and they're just 3 of many for the Yankees, as Verlander really fooled him on that one.
Well, the one thing you have to be careful of still, this is the 3rd time through the order. All these guys are such good hitters. Every one of the players in this lineup make adjustments to what the pitcher's doing. And you have to be very careful. You have to make good pitches the 3rd time around against this group.
Change up in the dirt.
And it was interesting because Jim Leland, in talking to him the last 2 days, he has a perfect scouting report on all of these hitters. The question is, can your pitchers get to those weaknesses all the time? Like he said, he knew that Damon, turns early in the count.
Yeah.
but you got to stay away from that. He couldn't stay away from it.
And as you pointed out, it was really a location mistake by Verlander. The catcher set up toward the outside and ended up right out over the plate. And that is strike 3. He got him spinning away on the curveball, and it broke back for the strikeout.
And that's one of those situations where if you're the hitter, you can't argue. You don't know where it was. I mean, you really can't. You cannot argue, and Gary doesn't argue. He's not saying it was a strike, but he doesn't know for sure. There's a fastball on the inside corner, another changeup, the beautiful changeup. Now here's the pitch. Watch this. And he doesn't know where it is. He can't argue because he doesn't know where that pitch was.
Wow.
That's one of those. I remember we grew up in the Bay Area. The two of us, Sad Sam Jones used to do that all the time. You'd have guys fall down and the curveball would break over the plate. So very few people throw a big curveball anymore because it's hard to control. You know, they throw the slider or the slurve or whatever they want to call it, but very few overhand curveballs.
It wasn't that Sam himself was that sad. It was just a lot of hitters were sad when they had to face him. And he was a very poor hitter. Could not hit. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jason Giambi. Although Sam Jones really, Joe, a little before my time.
Oh, yeah.
I know you remembered him, but
I do.
That one deep down the right field line, hooking, foul.
Well, another pitch down and in to a left-hander. And remember, we've always said this. The left-hander's bat seems to speed up on that ball down and in. You can't throw it hard enough to get a by guy down and in. See, that ball's down and in, and he just reacts. Left-hander hitters react to the ball inside. It seems like they just drop the barrel there, and look at that. He's just a little bit out in front, and he pulls it foul. But I love that. Speed up a left-hander's bat when you go down and in.
The curveball, and Casey waves off Verlander, takes it himself. Casey, mighty Casey. 2 down. Alex Rodriguez comes up now. We'll be visiting with Joe Torre from the Yankee dugout at the end of this inning. There's Joe. So Don Mattingly just beyond him, the hitting instructor. Alex Rodriguez. I mean, he is such a great player that his numbers for the season are a disappointment.
And that's unbelievable. When a guy hits 30-plus home runs, driving 120-plus runs, I mean, most guys say that's pretty good.
Got booed most of the year.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
This guy's killing us.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it really is. But that, like you said, he's such a great player, has such great talent that, you know, everybody's disappointed when he doesn't hit a home run every time up or something.
Well, in this game, he came up with the bases loaded in the first inning, and Justin Verlander abused him.
Yeah.
I mean, 200-mile-an-hour fastballs and then a knee-buckling curveball got him looking. And then A-Rod flied out to shallow left center in the 4th with nobody on base.
I mean, all this up here, you can look at it and whatever, but look at these final numbers down here. I mean, that's not bad. 290, 35, and 121. That's not bad.
A lot of strikeouts for A-Rod, though.
Right. Second most in his, well, ties the most in his career. But, you know, strikeouts are a product of not being as consistent as he had in the past. But remember, he was a 300 hitter, not a 290 hitter normally. But those strikeouts are the reason that he didn't hit 300 this year. Because he didn't put the ball in play more times, and if he puts the ball in play, obviously he's going to get more base hits.
Curveball, strike 3 call. Second time that A-Rod has been called out on strikes. And there is booing at Yankee Stadium. Joe Torre will visit with us from the Yankee dugout in 60 seconds. We'll be back. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball's Division Series presented by Budweiser. And welcome to Joe Torre, the Yankee manager from the Yankee dugout. Many thanks, Joe, for coming on with us.
Okay, John.
Yeah. Joe, Messina seems to be throwing the ball pretty well, changing speeds, moving around. How much do you think you can get out of him?
Well, you know, Moose is pretty honest with us. He's you know, we put him on the disabled list for a groin problem, and he hasn't had a recurrence of it. You know, he can get into, if he gets that rhythm going, Joe, he can give you 100-plus pitches. But as I say, he's pretty honest. We'll go probably that last inning he's going to pitch. We'll go a man at a time and have our bullpen ready.
All right, Joe, and what about the bullpen? I mean, you had the day off, so you're just having days off all over the place here.
Yeah, I know. This time of year, you just you're anxious to play every day, and you just have to take what comes.
All right, so, but we know Mariano just 1 inning.
Yes, Mariano 1 inning.
All right. Many thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Joe Torre, the manager of the Yankees, and our appreciation of both Joe Torre and Jim Leyland for coming on with us during the big ball game here today, game 2 of the division series. Maglio Ordonez leads off for the Tigers, the cleanup hitter. The RBI leader for the Tigers, a veteran. Broken back. And there is Cano. Ordonez is gone, 1 away. Let's go down to Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, John, it's great for Moose that he came into this inning with just 69 pitches, because he was telling me with Mariano Rivera's situation, he kind of feels like he needs to go deeper than usual because middle relief has been hot and cold. He said, I realized that I took Rivera for granted when he was on the shelf for 3 weeks with that forearm injury, because when he's not available, there are so many more question marks between the time I leave the game and the time we get to him. Now, customarily in the postseason, we'll see Mo go 2 innings day after day after day, but like Torrey just said, he's only available for that 1 inning to try to save his arm.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, Mariano Rivera has gone more than 1 inning in 65% of his postseason appearances. And Joe Torre has been very open about it over the years, Joe, when we've been here for postseason games. He'll say, no, Mariano's ready for 2 tonight.
Right. Well, he uses him. He doesn't use him as much during the regular season, you know, in those situations as he has to. I mean, because he doesn't have to. But in the postseason, he's ready. He
did use him more than 1 inning 17 times this year. But as a closer, only in 22% of his overall appearances has he gone more than 1 inning. So, but he had the muscle problem in his elbow that shut him down. And Torre is just afraid that if he pitches more than 1 inning, that problem could come back.
Well, fatigue is the reason that you can injure yourself as well. I'm not going to look at those numbers again on my sheet since you say mine is incorrect. You know?
Well, you're getting your stats from the Brand X stat company.
Saying mine are
use the
incorrect.
Elias Bureau. Come on. Look at those numbers. A .80 earned run average, less than 1 run per 9 innings allowed.
No, I think he's the greatest postseason closer in the history of baseball, but I think he's head and shoulders.
That ball is hit deep by Guillen. Way, way back there. It's tied up. Carlos Guillen into the home run porch at Yankee Stadium, and we start over again. It is 3-3. Guillen, who doubled his last time, and he plants one in the bleachers this time.
And this is what the Tigers did on Tuesday night. They fell behind 5-0, but they just came right back and made it a ball game. Now in this ball game, they fell behind quickly 3-1, but guess what? They've tied it in the next 2 innings. They've come up with 1 run. So this is an excellent ball club. They just do not quit. And Guillen hits it. He knows it's gone as soon as he makes contact. This is not a big ballpark in right field.
That's got to be a mistake there by Messina.
Yeah, definitely. But he'll have to, I mean, if Guillen hits that ball in Detroit, he may have to look at it a couple of seconds longer. But here he knows it's gone. And his teammates all know that they're tied.
Well, make no mistake about it. The Yankees have all of these all-stars and MVPs and great hitters up and down the lineup. The Tigers aren't as well known. I mean, Pudge Rodriguez is well known. Maglio Ordonez. Carlos Guillen is sort of a connoisseur's delight. But they hit 203 home runs this year. They can hit the long ball with anybody.
The trouble is they're kind of a hit and miss. You know, they strike out a lot, they hit some home runs, but they do not walk a lot.
Sheffield stretching out, kept his foot in the bag for the putout on a wide throw by Jeter.
Jeter a little erratic today as far as throwing is concerned. He's testing Gary Sheffield over at first base. Let's take a look at Carlos Guillen's home run swing. See how he leads with the hand. Now watch the barrel of the bat catch up. Right there, look at that. I mean, that's right, perfect, mashed against the bat. You see, that bat didn't bend. I think that's one of those maybe maple bats, harder bats. We saw a little bend in the bat when Johnny Damon hit it. His looked more like, you know, a normal Louisville slugger or something.
Here's Craig Monroe and a curveball inside from Messina. Monroe has doubled and scored a run, and he is bunted into an out.
It was interesting when we were talking to Jim Leyland, not on camera, but he said, you know, it was a great idea because A-Rod was deep, but he's got to make sure it goes foul if it's not a base hit.
Pop up by Monroe, shallow center, and there is Damon. And that's the inning. And Joe's talking about the 2-out bunt by Monroe with a runner at third in the fourth. 3-3. Matsui coming up. Game 2 of the American League Division Series continues now from Yankee Stadium, New York. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan and Bonnie Bernstein. The Yankees had a 3-1 lead there for a while on a home run by Johnny Damon in the fourth inning, but the Tigers, with a run in the fifth and a run in the sixth, have tied the game. It's 3-3. Hideki Matsui has singled twice against Justin Verlander. This one he rolls right to Polanco, and there is one away.
You know, it was interesting when we talked to Jim Leland. He said, you know, the average pitcher, he would have already been gone, because the Yankees would have probably beaten up on him a little bit because he had so many runners on base. But because Verlander had such good stuff, he's been able to weather that storm, and he thinks, you know, and that's the reason that he's kept him in. I'm sure he would have pulled someone else, but he's watching him now, as he said, player by player, pitch by pitch, to see exactly, you know, what he wants to do.
He had thrown 92 pitches coming into this inning. Jorge Posada, who has walked twice in the game, and a foul out of play. The Tiger bullpen is very busy right now. The right-hander Fernando Rodney, and the left-hander number 32 is Jamie Walker. So they'll be ready if needed. And that Tiger bullpen is a pretty good bullpen.
Right.
I mean, they got some guys who can throw very hard. Rodney's a hard thrower. Joel Zumaya is probably the hardest thrower on the planet, which is saying something when we've been watching Verlander all day. And there's Todd Jones, the veteran closer, who did not throw all that hard, but is a strike throwing machine.
John, I think this game takes on a more importance for the Yankees because, you know, Randy Johnson's going to pitch tomorrow. If Randy Johnson was 100%, you say, hey, he's our horse, we don't worry about it. I'm not sure what they're going to get from Randy tomorrow because, you know, he's had the back problem. And, you know, when you have a back problem, anything can happen on any given pitch. So you do not know exactly what you're going to get. And so if the Tigers feel like if they can go home 1-1 and not knowing what Randy can give the Yankees tomorrow, the edge would switch to them. So we'll have to see about that. But we all know if Randy's healthy, we've seen what he's done in his career in the postseason. But we know he's not going to be 100% healthy. But if he's healthy enough to, you know, throw as he would like.
A couple of veterans, Randy Johnson and Kenny Rogers. And we'll have that tomorrow night on ESPN and ESPN HD, 8 o'clock Eastern. A foul out of play by Posada off the upper deck facing. What do you think? You want to drive out to Detroit after this one and go do that game tomorrow?
Well, I don't think I'll drive this one, but I think I'll get there in time.
Oh, Detroit is just down the road.
Yeah, I know, but I'm going to have dinner with some friends tonight, and then I'll get there tomorrow.
Oh, you want a little more time in New York?
Yeah.
Posada with another foul back out of play. Well, I hope you make it.
All right.
8 o'clock tomorrow. Whether you're there or not, I'm doing the game tomorrow.
I will definitely make it.
Randy Johnson, of course, was brought here for these games.
Yes, exactly.
And last year, when we were here at Yankee Stadium, he pitched Game 3 against the Angels, and he got knocked around. And they were not happy with him at Yankee Stadium. So that will be interesting tomorrow. If the Yankees lose this game, the Tigers really would have achieved just what they hoped to achieve going home.
Yeah. Well, you always like to come in and do what the Oakland A's did to the Twins, win both games, but you would be satisfied with a split here.
Posada, base hit on the 9th pitch of the at-bat. He dunks one into left field. So with 1 out and 1 on in the 6th inning, let's take a look at Game Track, presented by Intel. Marcus Timms singled home the first run of the game in the 2nd inning for the Tigers. But then in the 4th inning, Johnny Damon hit a 3-run shot upper deck near the foul pole. 3-1 Yankees. Took the curtain call. And then Carlos Guillen with a score 3-2 in the 6th inning. He planted one in the home run porch. And that tied the game. 3-3, last of the 6th. Jorge Posada has reached base with 1 out, and Robinson Cano coming up. There's the shortstop, Guillen, back in the field now.
And Cano is definitely due.
Cano has hit into a force play and flied out to left. Johnny Damon on deck. Verlander Pours one in there for a strike. Now, he's not throwing that 97, 98, 100-mile-an-hour fastball as often, Joe.
Well, you know what he's doing now? He's trying to spot the ball better. Every pitch to Cano up until that last pitch had been away. That was a fastball in, and it surprised Cano. He wasn't ready for it.
Now, Joel Zumaya, number 54, gets up in place of Fernando Rodney. Jamie Walker, the lefty, still up. And that fastball is badly up and away. That's the 105th pitch for Verlander, so he could be right on the edge of being out of this game here. Well, here comes manager Jim Leyland right now, and he's already made the call. With a 1-ball, 1-strike count, he's bringing in the left-hander, Jamie Walker.
Well, he did not like the release of that last pitch. So
Verlander, his postseason debut is over. He pitched well. We'll be back.
ESPN's MLB Division Series, presented by Budweiser. Brought to you by Prestone Antifreeze in the yellow jug. Prestone Protection. Easy to choose, easy to use.
Yankee Stadium, New York, and center stage much of the afternoon has been that man, 23-year-old Goochland, Virginia native, Justin Verlander.
We had a good curveball going, John, and he started with Gary Sheffield. I mean, look at this. It's a beautiful curveball. We talked about him using that. He gets Alex Rodriguez and Sheffield again. And Rodriguez, he's going to get Jason Giambi, hit a ground ball, and then he gets Rodriguez again on a 3rd call strike. So that curveball was helping him out a lot today.
Struck out Sheffield twice, struck out A-Rod twice. And the walk 4, struck out 5 in 5 1/3 innings. And 105 pitches. I think, as you said, Joe, there was something that Leland saw in the release of that last fastball that just said, well, I think this guy's had it.
Well, it definitely wasn't free and easy, and it didn't have the snap or the velocity.
So he had thrown 105 pitches. This is Jamie Walker, left-handed specialist. He inherited a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Now it is going to 3 balls and 1 strike to Cano.
And the one thing that the Yankees do to you going through that lineup, you know, he had 105 pitches to get 16 outs. And that tells you a lot right there about how the Yankees, you know, grind a pitcher down, so to speak.
Posada's been the king of the grinders today. He's over at first. Well, this could be 2. Guillen to second 1. Polanco over to first. 2, a double play. Jason Verlander leads the cheering from the Tiger dugout. Marcus Thames having a big day. Coming up when we Richard Miller. And we are at Yankee Stadium. That ball is driven by Marcus Thames down the left field line. He's got his 3rd straight hit. Now, let's see the arm. Well, it was strong enough, apparently, for Thames not to challenge Matsui. He held on with a single. But Thames is now 3 for 3. Brandon Inge coming up. And let's get an update from Carl Ravitch.
All right, John, just a reminder, we're less than an hour away. 45 minutes, first pitch, Jim Edmonds. That comes up at 4 Eastern. He's in the lineup hitting 6 against David Wells. If our game's not over, it'll start on ESPN2.
All right, Carl, and tell you what, that Cardinal lineup with Jim Edmonds is a lot different than without, and they were without for most of the last 2 months of the year.
Big difference in that lineup with that left-handed batter, Jim Edmonds, in the middle.
Brandon Inge. That ball was not a foul. It just got away from Posada. And over to second base goes Marcus Thames.
That's one of those balls where the barrel of the bat hides the ball from the catcher. I mean, the ball looks like it's going to be bunted, and then it disappears, and then Inge gets his bat out of the way. And watch, the ball is right in line there, right there in line. Then he moves it. And it becomes a pass ball. But watch this. It's right in line with Posada catching the ball. Then he moves it out of the way at the last second, and it hits off the heel of his glove. It had a little more movement on it than he saw out in front.
So now runner is at second base. And Brandon Inge went over and chatted with third base coach Gene Lamont after that pass ball. He's still pulled in at the corners. Shows bunt and takes ball 2. Remember, Messina is an excellent defensive player, and he was just pounding down off the mound to cover up that third base line.
This is a tough situation, and Jim Leyland's making, you know, he's got to make decisions here. What do? Do I go ahead and give Inge up and bunt him over, even though the 2 balls, no strikes? Granderson, the left-handed hitter, but he strikes out a lot. So what do you do here? That you have to think about all those things, and he's already done that.
You let him swing. Nope, he's bunting. And there he gets it done. Messina off the mound to get it, but his play is to first. Cano covering. Brandon Inge gets it done. So Tim's over to third, 1 out. He is the possible go-ahead run.
And that tells you something about Jim Leyland's thinking right there. He feels like that if he can get a lead, he can go to that bullpen and, maybe hold this game in check. So he's playing for the 1 run right now. And Joe Torre's not going to give it to him. They're playing the infield in. And there you see what's going on after our ball game.
Cardinals won game 1 on Tuesday, 5-1 in San Diego. Back of Chris Carpenter. Padres need a win before they head off to St. Louis. The infield is in for the Yankees all the way around.
And the
Marcus Timms at third. Granderson. There's that changeup from Messina.
And you can see the shadows are out across halfway between the mound and the plate. That's when it's most difficult to pick up the spin on the ball. But like I said, this is one of the things you have to think about if you're Leland. Granderson strikes out a lot. Do you want to put him up there and say, just put the ball in play for me?
You've got to get one to the outfield here to get Timms home. And Messina fouls it up with a fastball. He threw a 72-mile-an-hour changeup and then a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and he's ahead of him 0-2.
And the great thing, John, the changeup was away, and then the fastball tied him up inside. That's perfect pitching.
Granderson did hit a sacrifice fly in this same situation in the 5th inning to get Timms home from third. But now he's behind 0-2. We got a piece of that one.
Well, that's a good job. I mean, you can see him cut down on his swing, try to make contact there. It wasn't the big swing that he had, on a couple other pitches when he struck out early in the ball game.
Messina is not a strikeout pitcher per se, not like Roger Clemens, but this is a spot where he's pitching for that strikeout.
Well, he outsmarts you is what he does, John. He sets you up, and then he puts you away.
Does not want him to put the ball in play here. Curveball, and he hung that one up there.
That's not the good pitch. That's not where he wanted that.
He struck him out on a curve back in the 1st inning, but that was much better thrown.
But you have to also be careful with, bouncing that curveball. You have to be careful if you throw a really sharp one and it bounces and he scores on a wild pitch. You have to throw a strike with it, I believe. You don't want to hang it that much, but you want to try to make sure you don't bounce it.
Well, Posada's had some ball blocking problems here in the last few innings.
Good job.
That's left center field. That's into the gap. Marcus Timms will score the go-ahead run. Granderson's going to try for 3. The relay by Jeter, not nearly in time. A triple for Curtis Granderson, and the Tigers have gone back ahead 4-3.
And it was a great job, John, because he cut down on his swing. Messina tried to get him on a high fastball, and he slapped it the other way. But he also cut down on his swing on the first 0-2 fastball. So you got to give him a lot of credit for getting the job done and knowing what he's doing. Watch this, the high fastball, that's what they want. It's not up as much as he wanted it, but you can see the short swing, real short, and he drives it to left center field. And he puts the Tigers ahead. And again, you have to give these Tigers a lot of credit because they were down 3-1. Now they're up 4-3.
And Marcus Timms, the former Yankee, he really did not ever play for the Yankees very much, but he was a Yankee draft choice, broke into the big leagues with the Yankees back in 1996. And Marcus Timms here at Yankee Stadium is having a big day in the postseason. Actually broke in with the Yankees in 2002, then was with Texas the next year, and went to Detroit in 2004.
That's also, John, Jim Leyland's showing a lot of confidence in his player. He says, I think he can get the job done, and he rewards him by getting the job done. But a great job by Granderson just to cut down on his swing.
Now, another important run to get home. The infield is in. Messina sinks that fastball inside for ball 1 to Placido Polanco.
And you have to be careful if you're the Yankees because Polanco can do everything with the bat. This could be one of those situations where Jim decides to put the squeeze on because he can do everything with the bat. He can bunt. He can hit the ball the other way. He's got the right guy up there to give himself a lot of options.
Well, an excellent heads up. Polanco fouls one back. All right, so he's giving him a swing.
Right. He's got a lot of options, though, right now. And you can watch the third base coach sometimes.
They're all looking at Lamont right now.
And what happens is you have to give an answer. If he gives you the bunt sign, squeeze sign, you have to answer to let him know that you got it. And then he'll walk over and tell the runner at third base. But he does it after every sequence so that you won't know when the guy's coming, if he is coming.
Granderson at third. Up and in as he spins away from it. And Polanco is ahead on the count. 2 balls and 1 strike in the 7th. And there is Granderson at third, and there is Gene Lamont.
And there he goes.
He goes over to talk to Granderson now.
And all he'll do is say nothing's on or it's on. That's all he does each time.
If it's on, Granderson cannot give it away.
Right.
Cannot leave too soon when Messina could pick it up before throwing. 2-1 the count. Curves in. 3-1. There's Jim Leland relaying a sign over to
Lamont,
third base coach Gene Lamont.
He almost repeated what Jim did to him, right? Started with a little finger on the cap. But again, you have to always answer. That's the key.
3-1 the count to Polanco. Infield in. Fastball and a foul out of play into the upper deck off to the right.
And again, it's tough to do with, it's tough to hit in these conditions with that shadow right halfway between. Here's Jim Leland coming down. This is interesting. Because first of all, Lamont doesn't know where to find him to get the sign because he's moved.
Well, maybe that's a sign. 3-2 the count. Caught by Rodriguez. Not in time to double him up at third.
And a nice play by Granderson. One of the things you're always taught is you get off the bag as far as the third baseman is off the bag. You do not get off far enough so that if a line drive comes your way, you can't get back. So Granderson does this perfectly. See the air there? He's only getting the same distance over here. And he starts back. Excellent play there by Granderson as he beats A-Rod back to the bag.
He did well not to get doubled up.
Oh, yeah, that was just excellent base running.
He's not supposed to get doubled up.
But how many times have we seen guys get doubled up in that? They freeze instead of starting back. He immediately started back. He did not freeze and then go back.
Well, now the infield can drop back, normal deck. Sean Casey. And if Casey gets a hit here, we'll see how valuable that was. Right. Granderson's ability to get back. Change up, right center field. Damon. And that's the inning. So that might be very big. They did not get Granderson home from third. Top of the order for the Yankees. Damon, Jeter, Abreu coming up. 4-3, Detroit leading. When we come back, we'll visit with the baseball guru, Peter Gammons. Bright sunshine over Yankee Stadium, left field, a real sun field now, which could be something that comes into play. It's 4-3. The Tigers lead as we go to the last of the 7th. And we are very pleased now to be joined by our colleague, Peter Gammons from our studios. And Peter, welcome to Game 2 of the American League Division Series. And what about that matchup tomorrow night in Detroit? Randy Johnson against Kenny Rogers. 2 veteran hands going head-to-head.
First of all, it's great to talk to you two guys again. But it's a really interesting contrast because, we don't know what we're going to see from Randy Johnson for physical reasons. But to me, it's so odd to have this situation where Kenny Rogers pitches all these years in the major leagues and has never won a game as a visitor in Yankee Stadium. So you have to wait to pitch, the guy that's supposed to be your veteran presence. So you have to pitch him at home in the 3rd game of the series. This is a little different, to say the least.
Now, what about pitching him tomorrow and the younger, harder-throwing Bonderman being held off to Game 4?
Well, I'm just kind of a believer that, when you have Verlander and you have Bonderman, and especially with the Yankee lineup, you've got to be able to pitch them on the inner half of the plate. To me, those power pitchers, particularly in October, are the guys that are most likely to win for you. And And I understand some of the frustration with Bonderman, and he hasn't really been able to change speeds. But, I mean, he has great stuff, and I will be very interested to see how he pitches. I know that there are some people in the Tiger organization who are a little worried about his makeup. I think just the opposite. He's a very tough kid, and I think he could go out and pitch very well for them.
And finally, Peter, we're into that Tiger bullpen now. Not in the bullpen is the young, hard-throwing prodigy, Joel Zumaya. What about this Tiger bullpen?
Well, I mean, I think when we saw Walker, I mean, and you know, if Jones pitches normally, Zumaya is got one of the great arms in baseball. You see all that power coming in. And, you know, at this time of year, those guys who are really hard throwers dominate games. And Zumaya, at times, was the most feared right-handed pitcher in the American League. So this is kind of a fun situation. However, we also know that these ghosts do come out in October in Yankee Stadium in the 8th and 9th innings.
Well, Peter, I know I speak for baseball fans everywhere. We are thrilled to have you back, and it was great chatting with you.
Thank you very much.
All right, see you, Peter.
Okay, Joe.
See you later. All right.
Peter Gammons from the studios, and here at Yankee Stadium, Jamie Walker to Johnny Damon. He's quickly ahead of him. Nice curveball in there. It's 0-2 to Damon.
And remember, this is, you know, we're getting late in the ball game, and even though the Yankees have a great lineup, I mean, you're looking, if you're the Tigers, you say, if I can find 9 outs here, you know, we're in good shape.
Right to the second baseman, Polanco. Came in to get it. One away. That's a big man to keep off the bases late in the game.
And I knew they weren't going to let him pitch to Jeter. They're bringing Zumaya in because he was out warming up, getting ready for Derek Jeter.
Well, we had the heat with Verlander, and then we had the crafty left-hander, and now the heat is going to be turned up even more. Zumaya is coming in. 4-3 Detroit. We'll be right back. Jeter coming up. Major League Division Series presented by Budweiser continues a little bit later with games on ESPN and Fox at 4 o'clock Eastern. ESPN will have Game 2, Cardinals and Padres from San Diego. Then at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight, Fox will have Game 2, the Dodgers and the Mets from Shea Stadium. Right now, we've got a one-run game here on ESPN with Derek Jeter at the plate, Bobby Abreu on deck, and the young hard thrower Joel Zumaya, the rookie, into the game. And this is his postseason debut. And that fastball is too high to Jeter. The stadium radar gun got that one at 100 miles an hour.
John, I think the Yankees lost a little bit of the crowd enthusiasm by playing this game today. It's not as exciting a crowd as we're accustomed to or as loud.
Now Zumaya, who sometimes has a problem harnessing all of that power. He's behind Jeter 2-0. Jeter's mom and dad are here. They live over in New Jersey. His mom, Dorothy, is from New Jersey. And Derek, although he grew up in Michigan, is a great Yankees fan, always was. And that's a called strike. His dad was a Tigers fan when Jeter was a kid. I said, well, how come you were a Yankee fan? And he said, well, he used to go in the summer times to New Jersey to stay with his grandma. And so he got some exposure to the Yankees. But he said he also was nothing against the Tigers. Says his dad was a Tiger fan, so he wanted to be somebody else's fan. That's a foul off the right field line. That one at 101 miles an hour. Now, Joe, during the regular season, the starting pitcher for the Tigers, Verlander, was clocked 19 times at 100 miles an hour or more. Joel Zumaya, who comes out of the bullpen, only threw 83 second innings. He was clocked 231 times.
Well, the difference is one's a starting pitcher, and he can't just let it go every pitch, whereas a relief pitcher is only going to be in there a short period of time. He can let it go.
2-2 the count.
They're trying to stay away from Jeter. Let's see if he can. No.
Did he swing? No.
Well, you can see Pudge Rodriguez was set up away, and the pitch before that was away, and Jeter could not handle it. Well, you see Rodriguez is set up away, and that fastball's way up and in.
Now, when a Zumaya fastball comes way up and in, that will get your attention if you're Jeter.
Get your attention.
Well, he needs a strike right here. 3-2 the count.
Well, Jeter doesn't have to look for anything but dead red here. He knows he's going to get a fastball. And I don't think you can try to spot it and hit the outside edge. You just have to try to throw a strike.
Strike!
Well, it's foul tip.
Off the bat, into the glove of Pudge Rodriguez for strike 3.
Well, he got the fastball away. And Jeter tried to check his swing, but he tipped it. And Pudge Rodriguez was able to hold on to it. Watch, Jeter goes out there to get it. And then he tries to check his swing. I don't know if he even checked his swing because, let's see, I don't even think he checked his swing. Watch the barrel of the bat. Well, he did check it, but he did tip it. And he knew that he had touched it.
So 2 down. And Jeter showing the frustration. Yankees needed him to get on base there in front of the big hitters. Here's Abreu, but with 2 down and the base is empty. Check swing and a foul.
Well, it's like you're saying you do not have a lot of time to make up your mind whether it's a strike or not. When Jeter was up there, he started after the ball, and then he realized it was a ball, but it was too late. You can't sit there and decide right away whether that ball is going to be in the strike zone or not. And of course, the shadows do not help you to decipher what the pitch is or whether it's in the zone.
A little chilly today at Yankee Stadium. Autumn arrived in a hurry overnight. Look at that, a slider, strike 2 call. 100 miles an hour and then a slider.
Well, that's the key. I mean, if he can get ahead and throw you that pitch, you're not going to swing at it because you're looking for a fastball. And he never got ahead of Jeter in a position where he could throw it, but he gets the first strike to Abreu and he comes back with the curveball.
Fastball up and away. Zumaya is from the San Diego area. Was a great Padres fan as a kid. He said especially the '98 Padres, that's when he really got excited. Ken Caminiti was one of his favorites. And of course Tony Gwynn and just that team in general. That was a team that went to the World Series against the Yankees. 1-2. And the fastball is fouled off to the left. Stadium radar gun got that one at 102 from Zumaya. Amazingly, Joe, this guy was not, he's only 21, but he wasn't exactly an overnight sensation. He was an 11th round draft choice 4 years ago. This is his 5th year in the Tigers organization, so he made his way through that farm system. Scott Proctor is up but not throwing right now. That slider. Polanco. And the Tiger bullpen has been very strong. On to the 8th inning. Ordonez, the cleanup hitter. Then Carlos Guillen, who's having a big day. 4-3, Detroit.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. ESPN's MLB Division Series is presented by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure. This is Budweiser. This is beer. And Intel. Multiply your possibilities with Intel Core 2 Duo, the world's best processors.
Monument Park here at Yankee Stadium. Commemorating many of the Yankee all-time greats as well as other notable days and nights in this ballpark. There have been huge heavyweight championship fights that were staged here. There have been more than one pope who has celebrated Mass here at Yankee Stadium. The big ballpark in the Bronx, as Reggie Jackson used to call it. Here is Scott Proctor, and he throws pretty hard himself. He starts Maglio Ordonez with a slider for strike 1. Now, Proctor is right out there on the edge of the shadows. Those long shadows of October, and immediately throwing the ball right into the shadows to Ordonez. Another slider. Got the call on that one. It's 0-2, and Ordonez can't believe it.
Well, make no mistake about it. It's difficult for the umpire as well as the hitter to see that ball coming out of the light and then into the shadows. I'm not making any excuses, but I'm just telling you it's difficult for him as well as it is the hitter.
0-2 the count. Another slider down and away. So we haven't seen the Proctor fastball yet. He's thrown all sliders here to the dangerous Ordonez, who is 0 for 3. Struck out and popped out twice. There's the fastball, very high. 1-2. You saw Posada set the target up very high.
Well, you see the bright ball. See how bright it is? How bright it is out. Now look how dark it gets all of a sudden. That's what we're dealing with in the batter's box and behind the plate as the umpire.
And that is too low. I mean, the hitter's eyes adjust for the brightness in the background. There's Corey Lytle up in the Yankee bullpen now, a right-hander. And that ball comes into the darkness, just as you saw it on that replay. 3-2 the count. And he got him chasing that high fastball at 96. Well, the Stadium radar gun said 96. Ours said 94. 3-2 the count. Ordonez, the Tigers' RBI leader, former Chicago White Sox slugger, and he's always been one of the top sluggers in the game. Carlos Guillen having a big day on deck. Again, 3-2. And he walks him.
From 0-2, he walked him, and that's one of the problems this bullpen, you know, not putting guys away. I mean, he had him 0-2 with 2 sliders and was never able to finish him off.
Padres and the Cardinals will be coming up in a little while. Let's go out to San Diego now. Chris Berman. Chris.
Thank you, John. Albert Pujols and the Cardinals look like they were supposed to look all season. 1 October game, 1 October win. Can the Padres dig in on their home turf and jump back into the series? We'll have Game 2 of the NLDS coming up next. John?
Thanks, Boomer. And I'm looking forward to that game, Joe. I mean, you get a home team having lost the first game. I mean, they have to win today. So the Padres will let it all hang out against the Cardinals in that one. Here is Carlos Guillen. Curveball from Proctor in there for a strike. Guillen had a double in the 4th and a homer in the 6th. Cardinals won game 1 over Jake Peavy 5-1 with their ace. Chris Carpenter on the mound. Tony La Russa took a gamble on the final day of the regular season, not pitching Carpenter, and it really paid off. Carpenter, their best pitcher, able to go in game 1, and he won it. Guillen. Damon with the glasses down. Deep center field. He makes the catch. And that was not easy. He was battling a fierce sunshine out there. 1 away. Ordonez back to first.
Well, you can see Damon looking directly up into the sun, and he makes the catch. Obviously, those are pretty good sunglasses. Those are the kind I like, the ones you flip down.
Yeah, when
they
had
the ball go up and then you flip him down.
He had him up when the ball was hit, and then he flipped him down as he was going back.
See, those are the flip kind. You see a lot of guys wearing regular sunglasses.
Here is Ivan Rodriguez. He is 0 for 3 in the game. 0-1. You know, in the old days here, when they always played day games, when Yankee Stadium was first built, Babe Ruth would play right field here because left field was the sun field. He'd make Bob Musial play left field.
Well, yeah, to protect the Babe.
Well, then they'd go to the Fenway Park where right field is the sun field, and the Babe would play left, and Musial would play right again.
Well, that's why he was the Babe.
The Babe thought, well, that's going to injure my eyes. I had to stand out there squinting up into the sun all day. And see, there's the Babe, Joe. He's even out of the sun, even with this monument. Those other guys, let them get out in the sunshine. Say Babe Ruth would not go to the movies either. But that would not be good for his eyes. That's where I draw the line, Joe. Nice Pudge fouls that one back.
That may be the best swing I've seen him take, you know, in this ball game. Nice, compact, level swing.
He's not had much of a day with the bat and not much of a series. He's 0 for 7 in the series. Today he's had a comebacker and 2 ground balls to short. He struck out twice in his 0 for 4 in game 1 on Tuesday. Runner at first, 1 out. Craig Monroe on deck. And that's too low. A ball and 2 strikes. That was a hard fastball with some sink to it. And there is Brian Bruni, acquired from Arizona. And Bruni has done a great job for the Yankees with the ball club the last couple of months of the season. He was almost untouchable. Ordonez the runner at first. Proctor with a 1-2 count. And that is low.
But you can see that he has a better approach this time at bat, meaning Rodriguez. Stroke is shorter, quicker. He seems to be better balanced and everything. This is a very good at bat for him because he's been swinging at those pitches before that were just off the plate or just out of the strike zone.
Well, Proctor throws a lot harder than Messina, but he's not quite as deceptive as Messina. 2-2 the count. Slider up and away.
And as the crowd's getting into it, but all those pitches are off the plate, and Pudge is doing a good job of taking them. Now here's a situation I think that if you're Jim Leyland, you're probably going to send him.
So Ordonez, the runner at first. Sheffield on the bag with him. We'll keep an eye on it.
And if you're the Yankees, you let the shortstop cover.
There he goes. And Pudge got one high and tight, fouled it into the upper deck off to the right.
Interesting, they had Cano covering, and Rodriguez shoots the ball to right field more than he does anything else anyway.
I mean, even that inside pitch, he hit off
the other way. Yeah. So they were giving him a hole on the right side by having Cano cover. I thought Jeter would probably cover because it's tougher to pull the ball also in these shadows.
The pitcher is also himself in the shadows now. This is quite a battle. This is the 8th pitch of this at-bat. Ordonez runs. The slider. Center field. And Damon again flips the glasses down and again makes the catch. Another deep drive. This one hit by Pudge Rodriguez.
Well, I thought he hit that ball well, but that's just a big part of the ballpark.
It is 408 feet to straightaway center here at Yankee Stadium in the current configuration.
There you see him flipping the glasses down. Now he keeps tracking, and he makes the catch.
So 2 men gone. Johnny Damon. And again, he's making it look easier than I think that it really is out there with that sun as bright as it is and as low over the upper rim of the stadium as it is. Now Craig Monroe. You get the look from the camera in the outfield behind Matsui in left field. That's the real difficult field. Craig Monroe. Curveball. And he did not get all of it out of the end of the bat, and there is Matsui. Proctor might have gotten away with one right there. Sheffield, Giambi, A-Rod, Howard coming up for the Yankees, down by a run. Joe, this is from your good friend Tommy Lasorda. Tommy says, watch the postseason on ESPN. And he went on to say, it's your duty, Judy.
Well, I tell you what, he'd be proud of this. This is a perfect, great matchup here. This is a heavyweight slugger against another heavyweight slugger. Great quick bat of Gary Sheffield and Zumaya's fastball.
Yep. Center field. There is Granderson. One away. Wow, what a relief for Zumaya to get that guy in just one pitch.
And if you're Jim Leyland, you're happy. I mean, that was a line shot to center field.
Now here's an update. Let's go to Carl Ravitch.
Hi, John and Joe. Just a reminder, Boomer's getting loose. So's Chris Berman as well. He'll bring you the game. It'll start on ESPN2. And the game should start just about 4 minutes from now. So Padres and Cardinals fans, ESPN2 for you.
All right, so Boomer's on the mound, and Boomer's going to be caught in the action. They got all the Boomers out there in San Diego. That's too high to Jason Giambi. Now, Giambi's a different kind of a hitter than Sheffield all the way around, but that home run porch, the Babe Ruth porch out there in right field, lingers. It looms over the proceedings.
The key is if he can get his fastball in on Jeter, I think he has a better chance. Giambi, I'm sorry. Right there. Get it in. You got to get the ball in on him if you think that you're going to have a chance with the fastball. Middle in and up is even better. That's up. Not in, but it's up.
He made it look rusty on that one. 101 miles an hour.
That proverbial rusty swinging gait. So he doesn't handle the fastball as well as, you know, Sheffield does. In fact, most people do not.
Now, if I'm Zumaya, after those two swings, I'm sticking with that stuff.
Well, you can bounce a breaking ball away, but Jeter, I keep wanting Jeter to hit again. Giambi's not going to chase many pitches. That's a breaking ball he's calling for. Now he's going to go back away with the fastball.
Little high.
Really went away.
Yeah, went to the backstop. 2-2. One out, nobody on. Alex Rodriguez on deck. And there's the tattoo Zumaya displays. That'd be a good look for you, Joe.
Yeah, right.
No, really. And he right by him.
Yeah, he cannot catch up with his fastball as Sheffield could.
Now, our radar gun said 103. I didn't know that radar gun went up that high.
Fastball away, fastball for a strike, another fastball for a strike, and you can see he's getting a lot of movement on the fastball. It's not just a straight fastball. And you know, this is good. I mean, the fans are cheering for A-Rod as much as they booed him this year. I mean, they're showing him a lot of support here.
He is 0 for 3 in this game. He struck out with the bases loaded to end the first. And that's ball one. He flied out leading off the fourth and struck out in the fifth. He got two hellacious curveballs from Verlander for strike 3 in those two at-bats where Verlander got him on strikes. Wow.
Man. I tell you, right there, and you see Rodriguez, Ivan's going to go out and talk to him. But this is a perfect pitch up and under the hands, but his target was over the other way. And there was no way Rod could hit this. He's late and he's underneath it. But Ivan Rodriguez wasn't happy with the location. And you have to be careful, no matter what they say. I mean, A-Rod can hit the ball out of the ballpark in any direction. And so you have to definitely make your pitch to the spot that you want.
Detroit 4, the Yankees 3. The Yankees lead the series 1-0. Last of the 8, 2 down, nobody on. Alex Rodriguez.
That's where he wanted it.
Strike 2 call.
Beautiful pitch by Zumaya, and you see Ivan went out and told him, get the ball away. Now look at the target. Well, let's see where the target is, and he hits that target. The last time up, the target was there, and he was up and in. That's why Ivan went out and talked to him.
He painted him at 103. Struck him out.
No chance.
At 101. Changeup. Man, that was ninth inning. Marcus Timms having a great day. Coming up, Tigers lead 4-3. Here we go to the ninth inning, and Brian Bruni, right-hander from Astoria, Oregon, is into pitch now for the Yankees in relief of Scott Proctor. Marcus Timms, former Yankee, takes ball one. And look at Bruni's numbers: 19 games and a .87 ERA. And back to the screen on that high fastball. Bruni throws hard. We got that one at 97 miles an hour. Used to be with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And for a while, he was their closer. He had the great arm, and then hitters started catching up to him. And he was up and down between the minors and the majors. Finally, the D-backs released him this year. And the Yankees went out and signed him, sent him to the minor leagues, and brought him up 2 different times here to the big leagues, and both times he did well. So Bruni, only 24. Astoria, Oregon, Joe. That's up in the Lewis and Clark country. Beautiful country. That's too high for a ball. And Can you think of any other ball players from Oregon? I'm going to go with one who's a good friend of yours and ours.
Okay.
And of all baseball people, really. Johnny Pesky. And Timms pops that one foul. Posada and Sheffield, no. Sheffield went into a slide as he got near that fence in front of the dugout, and Posada went right to the railing. And both of them, I think, might have gotten a bruise from that railing.
Sheffield sees that he's closing in, but he slides into it, and as you said, you can see Posada runs into it. That's the difference between the first baseman and the catcher. Catcher just barrels straight ahead.
And Timms fights it off over toward the Tiger dugout. Like to the count.
Like a halfback in football is going to elude it. The fullback's going to run over it.
All right, so Posada, the fullback, collided with that railing, and it was bad news for the railing. Marcus Timms has had an RBI single. He's doubled and scored, singled and scored. He's 3 for 3. He's had a hand in 3 of their runs, but Bruni gets him. Check swing, strike 3.
John, you know, one of the reasons I've always said that power pitchers are what you want in the postseason is because at some point the hitters slow their bats slow down just a little bit. And here is a power pitcher just overpowering the Yankees and a guy like Alex Rodriguez, one of the best hitters in the game. You can't do that with slow, you know, guys who throw a lot of changeups, off-speed pitches. You have to have some power pitchers to be successful consistently in the postseason.
There's ball 1 to Brandon Inge, and that was Zumaya, the young reliever, and the starter today was young Justin Verlander, who also has extraordinary power.
And as Leland said, the only reason he was still in the game after putting so many Yankees on base, etc., was because he had such good stuff and he had such power.
That is Todd Jones, the veteran closer for the Tigers.
Probably the softest tosser out of the bullpen, isn't he?
Yeah, maybe on the whole staff other than Kenny Rogers.
Yeah.
But he throws strikes. That's what Jim Leland said that they wanted. 3-0. And I think Bruni thought maybe he had one in there to Brandon Inge. Verlander still in the dugout. He went 5 1/3. He allowed 7 hits and 4 walks. The Yankees put 11 men on base against them. They put 10 men on base in just the first 4 innings. But they only got 3 runs in those first 4 innings, despite all of those chances. And they're paying for it right now. Johnny Damon's 3-run homer in the 4th. All of the Yankees' runs. On the inside again, 3-2. Curtis Granderson, the leadoff man, on deck. Tigers have been very efficient. Conversely, they haven't had nearly as many chances, nearly as many base runners as the Yankees, but they have the lead. Right by him. 98 miles an hour. 2 down. Let's go to Carl Ravitch.
Hi, John. Great bullpen work we're seeing at the stadium. The starter set to take the field is the Cardinals. Do some high-fiving before they get prepared to face David Wells and the Padres on ESPN2.
So ESPN2 will have the start of that ball game as we are in the 9th inning here at Yankee Stadium. 2 down, nobody on. I talked about how efficient the Tigers lineup has been today. Well, here is Exhibit A, Curtis Granderson. He has come up twice with a runner at 3rd and 1 out. Well, that's where you're supposed to get that guy in most of the time. Well, he got him in both times. Once with a fly ball and once with a triple. Great at bats both times. He fell behind Messina in the 7th inning. 2 quick strikes and then battled and battled. And finally, he got a mistake and he walloped it into the gap in left center. You see those famous October shadows here at Yankee Stadium. And Bruni changed up on him. 1-2. Four to 3 Detroit. Top of the 9th, 2 down, nobody on. 2-2 the count. The first Tiger run, we're talking about their efficiency, with 2 down and nobody on in the second inning. Craig Monroe doubled, and Marcus Timms singled him home. So they have, almost every time they've had any kind of a chance to score, they have scored. And they lead 4-3. 2-2. Back to Bruni. Now, last chance for the Yankees, down by a run. As likely Todd Jones will be coming in from the bullpen. And there is the veteran right-hander. The Yankees will have the last third of their batting order, but still all-stars. Hideki Matsui, Jorge Posada, and Robinson Cano. And somewhere in there, they need to get at least a run to stay alive in Game 2. Jones heading to the mound at Yankee Stadium. A bright, cool, sunshiny day at Yankee Stadium. The Detroit Tigers, down 1-0 in Game 2 of this best-of-5 division series, have a 4-3 lead to the last of the ninth, and they have brought their closer in to try and wrap this one up as they get ready to head back to Detroit. Todd Jones, 38-year-old right-hander, has come in as he chats with his catcher, Pudge Rodriguez. He had 37 saves, Joe. He's not the prototypical closer. He's not a hard thrower, but Jim Leland said he just wanted somebody that was going to throw strikes and not walk guys and fall behind hitters all the time, and that's what he got, and he did a good job. So you see Matsui, who's had 2 hits today, 2 for 3.
Normally when you're at the bottom of the lineup, you think you have it's easy to get through, but with Matsui, Posada, and Cano, it's not easy.
Matsui has singled to right in the 2nd and 4th innings. He started that 3-run 4th inning rally, and he has grounded out. He's 2 for 3. Hard little cutter in under the hands, 1-1. Jones only walked 11 in 64 innings and only had 28 strikeouts. So his
defense has to be good.
The defense has to be good. The ball's going to be put in play. Too low. They said a writer told him about the Yankee lineup. They wanted to know what he thought about facing him. They read the lineup off. He said, wow, that's cool. That's going to be a lot of fun. You can't miss any spot for 5 games. Base hit. The 3rd hit of the game for Matsui, and they're going to lift him for a pinch runner. Melky Cabrera will go over. So Matsui gets an ovation as he departs. And now Jim Leland is going to go out and visit with Todd Jones.
This is what the Yankees needed. They need somebody to start, give them a start here in the 9th. Larry Boyd is going to talk to Posada. I don't really think that they're going to butt Posada, but Joe Torre sometime will play for the Tide. There's a sinker, pretty much in the middle of the plate, but Matsui just lines it right back through the middle for a base hit. The one thing that a lot of these good hitters have in common is they delay the barrel to the bat, and then it flies through the hitting zone. He uses a little more wrist action than most, but the results are similar.
There's Melky Cabrera, the pinch runner at first base. Got the call on the outside, and Posada didn't like it. Strike 1. Posada has been on base 3 straight times. 2 walks and a single. This is the first time that Todd Jones has ever pitched in a division series game. He pitched to a couple of batters in the LCS for the Red Sox 3 years ago, and quickly it is 0-2 to Posada.
good slider on the inside. He went away with the first pitch. Then he came right back inside with a slider. I don't think you're going to see him go inside again unless it's off the plate. You do not want to give Posada a chance to hit the hole on the right side. Well, he went in there again.
He did not have much success against the Yankees this year. In 2 games, they got 5 runs in only 2 2/3 innings against him. In a year where he had a lot of success against just about everybody else. Posada 3 hits in 10 at-bats, lifetime against Jones. Everybody's standing at Yankee Stadium. Strike 3 called right down the middle with a fastball.
Well, he got him looking for the slider in. First pitch fastball away, and Posada was upset. That was a slider in. That's a good pitch. Another strike. And here's the payoff pitch. That is definitely a strike.
Jason Giambi looked like he had questions for Posada about Jones' stuff. And here is Robinson Cano. And Cano has been held hitless tonight.
Well, they better be careful.
And he has been held hitless in this series. Strike 1.
Well, you're one thing about Todd Jones. You're right. He's throwing strikes. He's coming after him. And he's throwing a little bit harder with more movement than I thought. He had a 94-mile-an-hour fastball to finish Posada off. I mean, he's got some movement on his fastball, and he's getting it up there pretty good.
Yeah, he's not like just a soft up there.
He's not a soft tosser.
Yeah. And he's ahead of Cano, 0-2.
Anytime you can come inside on the left-handers, you got a good, your fastball's good enough.
Cano is 0 for 2 against Todd Jones. Only faced him twice. Has yet to have a hit against him. Johnny Damon on deck. Runner at first. Melky Cabrera. Everybody standing at Yankee Stadium. The breaking ball. Now that, it was a good breaking ball, but it was right up there to hit.
Well, not only the hit, but a ball that you can pull in the hole. See, that's the key. Because if he hits the ball in the hole, they're going to have first and third.
So he got away with one there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what you're trying to do is hit a ball in this hole over here, and that'll send Melky Cabrera around the third base. And then you got first and third with less than 2 outs. That's what you have to guard against.
0-2. Back to the fastball. That's foul off the left field line. And now Pudge Rodriguez is going to go out and talk to Todd Jones. Joe Torre. Torre in the past, Joe, after games, usually that have happy endings, will talk about moments like this. He says when you're in the dugout, you want to win so badly, you'd sell your oldest child to get a couple of runs. Jason Giambi looking on. 0 for 3 for him. Justin Verlander, the Tigers' young starter, still out there. Curveball. Tapped slowly. Foul ball. The crowd seeing Pudge boot it, but it was a foul ball.
Well, the Tigers get a break there, but Pudge knew what he was doing. He grabbed the ball quickly, tried to. He wasn't going to wait and let it bounce out in front because Cano would have beaten it out anyway. Now watch what Pudge does. The ball's hit. He tries to grab it because if that ball hits and bounces forward, he's not going to be able to throw Cano out.
Now you might also be asking, what about Melky trying to steal his way to second? Well, that's where Pudge Rodriguez is one of the greatest weapons in the game. It is very tough to steal against Pudge. 0-2. And a foul. This year, there were 25 steals at second, which already, that's not very many. 26 were thrown out trying to steal. 25 made it. 26 were thrown out. Only 51 even tried it.
Yeah. Well, they tried to hit and run the Tuesday with Jeter, and they got him hung up because Rodriguez throws so well.
And he maybe doesn't have the arm that he once had when it was one of the greatest arms ever seen in the game. A la Johnny Bench, but still very good.
Well, he still has a quick release. That's the key. And he has great footwork. All the great catchers, Johnny Bench, Iman Rodriguez, they all have had great footwork. Bench did.
0-2 to Cano, who thinks he cracked the bat and gets another one. You see Pudge looking over at Cano. Now that's 7 pitches have been thrown here to Cano, and they've all been strikes, or at least he's swung at all of them.
Well, that's what you're saying about Jim Leyland's thoughts on having Todd as the closer.
The crowd trying to inspire the Yankees. And a pop-up along the left field line. Could be trouble in the sunshine, but Monroe is there. 2 down.
And excellent pitching by Todd Jones. I mean, this is the first time I've seen him lately pitch, in person. I've seen him on television. But I see why he is successful.
Monroe has sunglasses with him, Joe, but they're just an ornament. He's not using them. Look at it. Look at where they are.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's got
2 pairs, so in case one doesn't come down, he's got another one. Now he's going to keep 1 pair on.
He's tried the flip downs. He doesn't like them, so he's just going to put the regular sunglasses on.
13 out of 15 pitches have been strikes from Todd Jones, so I guess Jim Leyland's right. He throws strikes.
2 down. Cabrera at first. All right. If you're Joe Torre, do you take a gamble here at some point with Cabrera?
I don't think so in this situation, but I mean, as Yogi Berra so aptly put it, it's never over till it's over because of this short porch in right field.
Damon is 3 for 7 lifetime against Jones, and he takes a strike.
Well, you see what Jones does. He stays off the bat, the good part of the bat. That ball tailed away at the last second. Damon was going after it, and it tailed away, and he couldn't handle it. He was just going to hit a ground ball someplace. So Damon wisely took that pitch.
Damon has a 3-run homer to his credit today. He was out in front of that one, an off-speed pitch, and he was halfway to the mound before he made contact in that one. And this was the home run, upper deck down the right field line in the 4th inning that gave the Yankees a 3-1 lead. The lead was short-lived. Tigers got a run in the 5th, a run in the 6th, a run in the 7th, and a 4-3 lead, and they still lead by that with 2 down in the 9th. Damon is the Yankees' final hope. Cabrera, the possible tying run at first. Down and in. Yeah, see, not everyone's a strike.
Well, that was to set up something else because he could not afford to go inside with a strike there, I didn't think. I mean, Damon has proven he can't hit that short porch there. So you're just throwing him a slider, give him something to look at, and then he'll go back away again.
1-2. No, the cutter
weighs 2 pitches in there.
And you hear the crowd react on that one. The reaction was, whoa. Joe Zumaya was looking on from the dugout.
Well, he can't really afford, in my opinion, to throw a strike inside to Damon, because that's the only pitch he can hurt him on.
2-2. And the cutter, and oh man, maybe off the knee or the shin with that foul ball, and that hurts. Gene Monahan, the Yankees veteran trainer, and manager Joe Torre will come out.
Well, you can see this pitch is going to break in off the plate, which is what he's trying to do. It's inside, and he just hits it right off his back knee.
The back knee. I mean, you don't often see that, anything off the back leg.
Well, that tells you how far it was, like inside, because he just glanced off the bat at the angle that he was swinging and hit him on the back knee. And Pudge going to go out and talk to Todd Jones, because I think you're messing with fire if you're trying to pitch inside and you want to make a mistake in there.
But on the other hand, you pitch away and he flicks that ball into left field.
I'd rather him flick it than hit it in the upper deck. That flick doesn't tie the ball game.
Well, if he flicks one to left field, the man on deck is Derek Jeter.
Doesn't matter. The game's not tied. But if he flicks one on that upper deck over there, you're down 2 games to none. I think you always have to guard against the worst thing that can happen. I think that's what you do in these situations. That's why you play deep in the outfield and keep the ball from going over your head.
Jeter on deck. And a high pop-up. Shallow center. Polanco And now Granderson in. He calls him off. The Tigers have won it. The Detroit Tigers, the team that was already being sent home. The conventional wisdom was the Yankees were just too tough, too experienced, too deep. And Jim Leland said, you know, they're depicting us as if we brought the junior varsity here. Well, this is a good ball club, and the Tigers proved it here today.
Well, I think they proved it Tuesday, because they came back from a 5-0 deficit. They were within one base hit of being able to win that ball game, and they came back today. They will not quit, and that's what this Tiger team is all about.
I mean, Granderson, 2 huge RBIs.